Why do we get heartburn or acid reflux, GERD? What can we do about it? If you've ever experienced a burning feeling sensation in your chest caused by stomach acid traveling up towards the throat, you know what acid reflux feels like. According to medical researches, up to 20% of the worldwide population may have some type of acid reflux. This can be caused by many factors that we will discuss, but understanding how the digestive system works will be crucial to identify what is causing your current symptoms, and what might be the possible solution. So what is actually happening in the digestive system? Let's start with the basics. When you chew your food, you are in the first stage of the digestive system. This step is called ingestion. During this process, you are basically preparing the food by reducing its size by chewing it and getting the digestive enzymes that the saliva provides. Then, you have the second stage where you push the food through the esophagus into the stomach. This process is called propulsion. The important thing you should know in this step is that between the esophagus and the stomach, there is a valve called the lower esophageal sphincter, LES. This valve prevents acid and stomach contents from traveling backward from the stomach. Or at least, it should. Here is where the problem occurs. But why? Once the food gets inside the stomach, your body has to produce an acid environment, a pH from 1 to 3, to break down the food into a component called chyme. This is where all the acidity comes from, and this is where you need to focus to avoid getting acid reflux. Some of the things you will need to do might actually surprise you. Did you know a common problem with acid reflux is that your body doesn't have enough acids in your stomach to digest the food? This means that your body will have to produce more acid than it should, once the food gets into the stomach. The worst part, taking antacids is probably not going to cure the problem. It will only relieve the symptoms, but in the long term, it will make it worse. So what are the main causes of acid reflux? 1. Eating foods and beverages that relax the valve, LES. The most common foods and beverages you should avoid that will relax your valve are 1. Coffee. 2. Chocolate. 3. Carbonated drinks. 4. Alcohol. 5. Fried or fatty foods. Make sure to avoid or reduce the amount you consume of these items so you don't have a lazy valve. Another type of foods you might want to avoid are spicy foods. These actually don't relax the valve, but they do slow your digestion and make the process inside the stomach take longer. This in the end will make the body produce more acid. 2. Putting pressure on the stomach. The 3 most typical ways you put pressure on the stomach are overeating, being overweight, or being pregnant. When you overeat, you fill the stomach capacity. This will reduce the space between the acid environment and the valve in the esophagus. At the same time, if you have more food in the stomach, the body needs to produce more acid to break it down. Try to have smaller meals during your eating windows to avoid overeating, or try taking digestive enzymes to help speed up the process. This will reduce the period of time of fullness in the stomach. Then, if you are overweight or pregnant, you will have issues when you sleep, because the weight will cause pressure on the stomach in a horizontal position. In this scenario, you should try to incline your bed or sleep on the side. Both will help reduce the pressure to have a good night's sleep. 3. Not having the ideal acidity in the stomach to digest the food. The first tip is actually starting from the ingestion. You should try to chew slowly so when the body reaches the stomach, it will have less work to do. Now, if you want to increase the acidity in the stomach, you could try one of these 2 options. 1. Take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before eating. This will help the stomach have the pH balance necessary to break down the food. 2. Take an HCl supplement, or commonly known as betaine hydrochloride. This supplement will have the same effect as the apple cider vinegar, but through a pill. This is another way to achieve the desired acidity without feeling the flavor of the apple cider vinegar. Both of these options are probably the most counterintuitive solutions. But it will have a big impact on your digestive health. Besides breaking down the food, the stomach also is in charge of killing pathogens and bad bacteria before entering the small intestine. This means that if you don't have the best pH balance, you would have a slower digestion, high risk of acid reflux, and higher probability of infections in the stomach. This is why adding apple cider vinegar or HCl to your stomach will improve your digestion. 4. Having too much stress and anxiety in your daily life. This is a problem that will generate more acid in your stomach. As we have repeatedly said, you want to avoid the body to generate acid. In this case, you should exercise regularly, quit smoking, and do some type of meditation. All these options will help you reduce your stress and anxiety levels. As a reminder, always consult with your doctor before making any changes, but something that you might want to do after watching this video is starting a food diary. If you keep track of the food you eat and then create awareness when you get heartburn symptoms, you will have an easier task of identifying your specific problem. This is a great habit to include in your daily activities when having any digestive issues. Start taking care of your stomach, and see how your heartburn starts to fade away.